ears and big red eyes. Doesn't sound like anything from the natural world, does it? Reminds me of a Native American legend. I've sent Dan to Pleasant Point, Maine, to meet with some of the Passamaquoddy tribe. They know all about giant flying creatures. They call them Thunderbirds. For many indigenous Americans, the Thunderbird is a revered spiritual being. Its mighty wings are said to create giant claps of thunder. Lightning is said to flash from its eyes. Dan asks Donald Socktimer, a Passamaquoddy tribal historian, for more information on this mythic creature.
Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the Thunderbird. What actually is the Thunderbird?
The Thunderbird stories goes back right to the very beginning of our creation. We look at some of our petroglyphs that are the rock art of the Passamaquoddy along the coast of Maine and New Brunswick, Canada, that are 8,000 years old. If you follow along on the petroglyphs along the ledges, it shows that the Thunderbird represents the higher power of communicating with the Great Spirit. The Thunderbird story is sort of universal within the surrounding tribes too, who consider themselves Wabanaki. But our stories are their stories too. For the Mothman of Point Pleasant, I think West Virginia, that might have been a story from one of the tribes in that area. As I was growing up, the elders would always tell me this would be during a thunderstorm, that you don't have to worry because that's the Thunderbird and they're our friends. They're here to protect us, and the thunder and lightning will never harm the Passamaquoddy person.
Depictions of Thunderbirds are everywhere in Native American art, especially on totem poles. But few people can claim to have seen a real Thunderbird, but even fewer have captured one on film. This incredible image was shot by Cherokee Chief John Huffer in Illinois back in 1977.
And I had it all focused. I had all my light meter readings. I had the lighting just right, and I turned it on, and they were sitting there, and I told my son to blow the boat horn, and when he blew the horn on that boat, those birds took off, and they flew, and that way we could see the wingspan, and the biggest one had at least 18 foot of wingspan.
It looks like a turkey vulture, but they only have a wingspan of 6 feet. Based on the height of these trees, this creature is 3 times this size. That's one big bird.
I think that I was chosen to be the one to photograph it because I joined the Marine Corps and they trained me to be a photographer. So when it came time for somebody to photograph the giant living Thunderbirds, it was me because I had the skill and ability and knew what it was worthwhile photographing. It made a lot of noise of those feathers catching enough air to lift that bird off of that roost. And it had a huge long black neck. I was so close, I could see that it was all cracked like old leather around there. And its beak was going back and forth, and it was making a crackling. It sounded like the Ancient of Days. It sounded like a primeval noise.
There are only 2 species in the United States that come anywhere near this size. The first is the bald eagle. Bald eagles are found all over North America, from Mexico to Canada. They stand about 3 feet high, with a wingspan of about 7.5 feet. The only other American bird with a larger wingspan is the Californian condor. From wingtip to wingtip, these vulture-like creatures measure up to about 9 feet across. But these birds are critically endangered and are rarely seen. Neither of these birds measure up to what we have on film here. Was this unknown creature the Native American Thunderbird?
Some medicine men from other tribes have called me up and say, I've seen the Thunderbird and I know that it's a spirit bird. By what they mean by a spirit bird is that it didn't come out of an egg.